Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Nedarim, page 72, which discusses that the father, as long as the daughter is still in the father's home, he has the right that if his daughter made a vow, that he can annul it. He is able to have it removed. The question is cited, is it necessary that the father actually has to have heard of the vow, that he knows the specifics of the vow she made? Or is he able to just say, in general, if you made any type of a vow, even if he doesn't know about it, that it's automatically removed? So in this, the Talmud brings the case of our Mishnah that says that fathers who were scholars, before their daughters would leave their home, before they would get married, they would make a general declaration. And they would say, any vow that you may have made in my house, I'm considering them to be annulled. So in this, the Talmud says, this seems like a pretty clear-cut proof that it's not necessary for the father, upon annulling any vow, for him to even know that the vows exist. So in this, the Talmud says, no, it's not the case. Maybe we're talking about when he says this, it will cause her to start thinking and say, you're right. I'm glad you said that, Dad. There actually is a vow that I made. And therefore he will then have heard the vow. And only because now he knows what the vow is, can he annul it. And the question is, why does it mention scholars? And the reason, as the Talmud here tells us, is that this is the way in which how scholars think. That what they do is they know how to engage other people. They know how to be able to stimulate a person's mind to initiate conversations. So in a situation where a person just doesn't know, did she make a vow or did I not? So you may just not have any conversation at all. But instead, the Talmud Chacham, the scholar, knows how to be able to bring out information, knows how to be able to really inspire you, to be able to think critically, even though you may not have been thinking about that up until this point. And this has to do with a person who engages in continuous Talmudic study, because through this depth of learning and thinking and interacting with your study partner, your peers, by sharing ideas, you're able to learn how to be able to think and also how to be able to understand how other people think. And a scholar has great levels of not just intelligence, but also emotional intelligence, that they're able to craft their words in a way to make sure that the other person is able to be inspired or as to think. Very often we find in the Talmud, a sage with the conversations of Rabbi and Rabbi, that one of them would say something, and it was only to sharpen the other person. In other words, sometimes they would say something which is even way off, and the other person said, well, how could you say that? But it doesn't say this. But they're only doing it to be able to initiate conversation, to be able to get the other party more engaged, that their minds are thinking and more operational, and to come up with answer which they would not have normally have done. And this is the greatness of an educator, of a teacher, is someone that is not only knowledgeable in being able to give over information, but to be able to get those students to think critically above and beyond what they would have done by themselves. Which the limitation, even though we live in a technological age where you can just Google it and get any information, but you have to know what you're looking for. A scholar, a great teacher, is able to find that spark, that knowledge which is inside of you, in which you didn't even realize was there. And this is what the father did. He would specifically initiate conversation to be able to now have the daughter start thinking, oh yeah, you're right, I did make a vow. And this is the great brilliance of the sages of our scholars.